Call the Property Management Committee to order. First order of business, approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion, here a second. Got a second. Any discussion of the minutes? If not, all in favor of approval, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, first on the agenda is archives expansion discussion. I guess.
Mr. John Lowell is going to give you a presentation. Let me just, you've all met him, go ahead and, he's got the information. I want to say that the Linebaugh Library Board and Ms. Shacklett, this discussion has been going on a long time. So what he's going to tell you is some of the things that they have suggested over this period of time, so and how it fits in with the archives expansion. And so it's just a beginning discussion point. I mean, we'll have to take a lot more thoughtful effort to really decide how we should move forward, or if we should move forward.
Sorry, I'm not very high tech, but it works.
We're not either, so go ahead.
Of course, y'all are fully familiar with the archive facility. We've been there since '06. Let me go ahead and say for the record, we are not out of space yet. We're getting there, but we're not out of space. What we're proposing today is something actually a little bigger than just the archives itself. We were approached 2.5 years ago by Linebaugh Library with the idea of combining the history room at Linebaugh with the operations of the Rutherford County Archives. I think most of y'all are familiar with the history room on the second floor of Linebaugh. It's about 1,500 to 1,600 square feet. It's not symmetrical, so it's roughly 1,500 to 1,600 square feet. They have 11,000 books, 550 rolls of microfilm. They do a lot of what we do in terms of history for the community. The archives, we are kind of twofold. Half of what I do is more modern, recent legal issues, property records, the different court records. But the other half of what I do is history, because the records go back to 1804. So anybody doing history in Rutherford County, doing genealogy, they come to visit us. They look for the original marriage records, wills, and those records. And then we send them to Linebaugh to look at the books, look at the microfilm, look at the census records. And that's an agreement that, not an agreement, but that's kind of a non-official agreement that we've had with Linebaugh for a long time, where we send people back and forth, because that's the way we've had to do it. So this idea is actually something totally different, to bring it all under one roof. And that would be absolutely amazing. We think that it would be a great benefit to the community, almost a gift to the community, to have all these historical resources under one roof. Now, the biggest issue is really with Linebaugh side of it. They need space in their room, in their building. They're out of room. The building over there at Linebaugh was built in 1992. It's 34,500 square feet. And as you all know, it's landlocked. They cannot physically add on to that building where they are. Unfortunately, the community doesn't want them to move from where they are. They've done several assessments over the years, and the community wants the library right where it is. So we just physically can't expand that building, in the city plaza. It's not feasible, not physically possible. So Rita Shacklett, director of the library, has worked in some capacities to alleviate space in the building. They opened the Myrtle Lord Library over at Patterson Center, which is a branch library, and on paper that physically expands the library services in the community. Most recently, right before Christmas, they did a $40,000 interior renovation at Linebaugh. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but right before Christmas, they came into Linebaugh, they knocked down some walls and opened some spaces up, and that's beautiful, but they still need more space. So by taking the history room out, they could utilize that space as well, which would be a lot of space for them, 1,500 square feet inside that building. And we just think it makes sense to add all the historical resources under one roof. Now, what we would do to get back to our building, that's what's on the first page of the handout. You'll see right there, existing Rutherford County Archives. We're currently 10,000 square feet, and that's the building that we, the county commission, the county built in '06. The archives was designed to be added on to. It was a beautifully designed building in the fact that, archives, we always take in records. At some point, we're going to have to expand. So the A expansion's on the back of the building, and it's literally an addition of our collection room. The way they built the building is the back wall of the building is non-structural. It's actually a very smart idea. And we can literally knock out the back wall, add 25 feet off the back times the width of the building, and the A section's an additional 3,000 square feet. They also designed the building where we can go off the back corner, the B section, into the current grass and a little bit of the parking area towards the maintenance building and add 5,000 square feet. So combining A and B is 8,000 square feet. My current capacity is 10,000 square feet. We almost double the building. So what we're proposing is to go ahead and do that expansion. The A would be additional collection storage space for the archives, my current operations, and the B would be actually a new research room that would house the library collections as well as being more space for the archives. The couple benefits from all of this is the building would be totally county. The archives would still function as the county archives with a research center addition under the same roof. Linebaugh would have to provide a librarian, so we would increase staff at the archives through the library budget, though, not through the county budget. So that's kind of good on our end. It would be one-stop shopping for the community. Anybody that's either lives here or coming through here looking for their roots, looking for history, it would be one-stop shopping. Like I said, almost like a gift to the community in one sense. So that is what we're proposing to do.
The addition would be another 3,000.
The A section's 3,000 square feet. The B section's 5,000 square feet. So you're looking at 8,000 square feet total.
Would it be done in stages?
It would have to be done together. What we need for this to pull this off is the B section, a new research room capable of handling the collections of the library. But we can't do B without doing A because if we do B, we can't, as the mayor pointed out to me very quickly, we can't get in behind the building once we do B with construction equipment. It's only about a 10 or 20 foot easement. So we're going to have to do A if we do B.
You have any idea what it would cost?
I do. On the second page of the handout, we got this for free. Let me go ahead and say that for the record. We went back to Hastings Architects, the ones that designed the archives building as it is now, and asked them for a budget analysis, and they were able to provide this for us for no cost. To do the option of A and B there you're looking at the total number there of $1,431,000. So right between 1.4, 1.5 million.
What's the significance of the December 2011 date? Is that when these prices were done?
That's when these prices were done. So I'm sure there's some inflation on that.
Right.
Probably not a lot in the current economic conditions, but probably a little.
What makes it $179,000? $179 a square foot.
A lot of the money is going to be the A addition's literally just warehouse, concrete floor and a warehouse above it as the collection room is now. The research room side of it is the cosmetics of the facility. I mean,
That just seems high to me.
And it may be. I'm not sure. I'm not in the construction business. But we went back to the architect that designed our building thinking that it would be similar flow. It will look like an addition to it will almost not look like an addition to the building. I was assuming if we go with the same architect.
I think the numbers are, most architects would want to give you a number. They want to be sure it's not going to be more than their number. I think the number is probably more than it would turn out to be. And you can see that he's got a 15% contingency there. It's a simple building structure. As he just said, the A piece is just warehouse kind of structure. The other will be a little bit more dressy, you might say, but we're building schools for way, way less than this. And I don't think it should cost more than a school per square foot.
It would not.
So I think the number's excessive. I mean, that would have to be refined and revisited. I mean, I think conceptually is what we'd like for you to just look at. Do you think the concept is worth us pursuing this and getting better numbers and seeing if there's maybe a funding source?
I think I can say for the record that we're hoping for an outside funding source, a non-county funding source. There again, reiterating kind of a gift to the community. One of the points I didn't stress is if we do this joint project, this would be another branch library. It could be considered another branch library for Linebaugh. So it really is expanding our library capacity in this community, and thereby, another gift to the community.
Being that part of Limeball is part of the city of Murfreesboro, is there any interest there for the city to?
No, this is just like at Patterson Center, the Myrtle Lord Library within Patterson Community Center is totally city. It's a city building, city property. This would be a county building on county property. It would not have any impact from the city. No city collections would go into it in terms of we would not start archiving the city records.
It was part of the Limeball Library though, right?
It would be part of Limeball Library.
Well, the collection would be
The collection would be part of
collection,
Limeball
and they would be
Library.
providing the staff person
The staff
in that
person.
building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the operating costs, all the operating costs on that side of it would come from
The library budget. It'd be their staff. Their staff person is paid through their budget. The benefits through their budget. If there's any operational cost on the library side of things, which is got to be minimal, would be their budget.
So the cities indirectly are contributing, but through the line ball system, I guess. Not to the construction, but to the operations.
To the operations.
They already have that person in there on those staff. And of course, the county's contributing already to that staff person as well, because we're paying about half of the operating costs and they're paying the other half. So we're already partners in the operation.
Yeah, the line ball's budget is comprised of 50% county. The other 50%, the majority is Murfreesboro. I don't know the percentage, 30 or 40%, and then City of Smyrna, City of Eagleville. No longer Laverne. Used to be Laverne, but no longer.
We're Highland Rim.
Excuse me.
Highland Rim. We are.
Highland Rim. That's right. Highland Rim also regional.
So we'd be in charge of the upkeep of the building. We, the county.
Yes.
The county. It would be a county building,
The county.
just like the archives is now.
Do you have any sense of what the odds are that you can find another source of funding for this? And do you know where you'd begin to ask, or maybe you don't want to reveal that information?
We'd rather not.
We'd rather not reveal that
put the group
information.
that we're
but-
going to ask under any real pressure until we do that, but, and we don't know if they would do it or not. I think there's a reasonable opportunity. I think they'll listen to this request if it's made. If we think this is a conceptually something, we'd have to have the blessing of the commission before we really should ask, I think, but
Yes.
conceptually, then we could find out the cost and how much we can get contributed from another source, and you can decide then if we really should move forward with it.
I really like the concept, so I'll move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion and a second to move for the approval on the concept.
Who was your second?
Commissioner Coggett.
Concept only right now, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, sir.
Any more discussion?
Would something like this, would we have to lease it to line ball since we're building it, or is it just kind of
It's ours to
It's
operate
ours
and
to
maintain.
operate.
And,
Well, I didn't know since they were kind of leasing, or
well,
not leasing, but
We'd have to work out those details on their collection being housed in our building, but there's some technical difficulties there that we'll have to address it.
Some
We don't
kind
know
of
exactly how to
interlocal
make that
agreement or
happen.
something?
yeah.
Yeah, but there'll be some sort of mutual
Obviously, a
understanding
no-cost
agreement.
lease, just something worked
I mean,
out for the
building.
legalities of
The
it.
building would be county, 100%.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of the concept, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, proceed on.
Thank you for your time. You can keep the handouts.
Already written on that.
Okay, next on the agenda is a update on Midland Fosterville Fire Department building.
Okay. Well, Mr. Farley's here and he knows about it as well, so you can ask him.
Like to join us?
I'll just give you an update on the cost and where we are, and he can add anything, or you can ask him any questions. We started out with an original cost on the contract of $346,843. We've had 4 and one additional change order being 5, so that the price right now we're at $353,603. We've actually paid this contractor almost $270,000 through January the 31st, so he's going to have a pretty good pay request through February. they are all but through. We're pretty sure they're gonna be through on or before April the 1st, and Larry says it could be 2 or 3 weeks from now, so it's imminent. It's been an extraordinarily quick process that they have provided here, so that's really about all I have to say. We don't have any difficulties that we know about that's gonna prevent this from being ready to occupy.
Anybody got any questions?
That was a short turnaround time on that building. I
They
don't think
did a
it was
good
about
job.
4 months. I don't know when the breaking ground was, but it wasn't too long ago.
It took longer to get get it all worked out before.
The plane.
Well, it was a metal building, but still framed, so it went very quickly.
Yeah.
Who was the architect on that building? Was that?
Romac.
No, not
Oh,
the
the
architect.
architect.
The architect.
Was that
is-
Klein or Busey?
No, that's an engineer whose name is Gerald Busey.
Okay.
Is he out of Nashville,
He's out in Franklin.
Franklin area?
He did a lot of your buildings for EMS, those stations.
He built that station out there on Barfield Road. Or
I-
He was
I don't know.
engineer.
Or was it? I didn't know about that.
Any more questions? If not,
So we're gonna have to fund his overage.
We have some contingency in there, I know.
Oh, okay.
they hadn't came to
Yes,
us with
I
that.
hope we don't run short. I think we're okay.
Not any more questions on that? Okay, item 3, Elam Road Fire Hall. And before we get started on it, Budget and Finance Committee forwarded a copy of their discussion of this building to our committee and Public Safety Committee. And then Public Safety Committee discussed it and passed it on to us. Looks like we've been catching all this. Maybe Commissioner Farley can bring us up to date on what they discussed and the reason for passing it on to us, or what was their committee thinking?
The committee basically thought that it's more of a property management issue instead of the public safety committee's issue, is basically the reason why it was sent on to property management.
Wasn't no safety concerns about rebuilding or remodeling that the committee discussed?
They thought it was more, had something to do with property, and then they thought it should come here.
Well, on the safety side, there's a how do you say it? A separate building where there's a fire station out there, so the fire protection issue is, they still got fire protection, that's why there wasn't really a public safety concern, because there's still
Still something
operational, just
okay.
not the main building, they had
Okay.
a separate building, so
So in
is
other
that
words,
way of?
Right.
so in other words, we're operational out there, but we need to do something with the building that burned. So, okay, Mayor, you got any update since you was at both, I guess you was at both committees?
I'll be as brief as I possibly can, just to bring this property management committee up to date. We took bids on this building, some of you are aware of, on January 29th of this year. And we had 3 bids, and the low bid was $146,000 to renovate and rehabilitate this building. And there were some alternates that were bid, and through the discovery of that and discussion of that, we're going to elect to take 3 of these alternates. Alternate 2 was for us to paint the interior and the exterior, and to put that one wall, the outermost wall, back as block. And all of that then, instead of $146,000, we would be at $145,300. That's the construction contract. Other additional costs for the budget would be the architect and engineering fee is $17,000. We already committed to that. and some printing for plans, et cetera, when we actually start building this, $1,000 or less than $1,000. And the architect has recommended a contingency of $5,000. So the whole thing, we think, would be $168,300 or less. Now, those bids that we took were good until, I believe, March the 14th, but the architect has asked the general contractor to hold that bid, you might say, until March the 20th, which would be after the commission meeting. All right, all that to say, that's how much it would cost, and if you decide that's what we want to do. We've had an extensive discussion about whether we should move forward on rebuilding this project or whether we should bulldoze it down and start over. And we've had a difference of opinions on that, and that if we take this down and start over, you'd know what we just told you that we have spent at Midland-Fosterville if we build something akin to that, and additional engineering or architectural fees and demolition costs, et cetera, we could be at $400,000 versus $168,000.
Mayor, versus question is, from doing the, I guess, a remodel or rebuild or whatever that you've got there, first, how much more, if it was new, like the Fosterville station, what's the difference in the square footage?
Okay.
Do we know?
You would think I knew you were going to ask this question. The Midland-Fosterville building, it's got about 4,300 square feet in it, and it has 2 bays for vehicles, and the bay's a little bigger than, that could hold a little something more than one of the engines. So, but there's 2 of them. The Elam Road property, what's out there now, the one, I'll call it the main building, and one separate building, the combination of those 2 buildings is about 3,800 feet. So what we built is about 500 feet more than's out there now. So that answers, I mean, that's a short answer to your question.
So if we were to add to the original bid some living space.
Well, this original building has living space.
It has living space in it?
Yes, sir.
The problem is, and I asked you to bring the plans, and I saw you had a big roll, so I'm hoping that's the
yeah.
plans. The bathroom, the equal facilities, and
The what now?
equal facilities for men and women. You dealt with this at Murfreesboro. I work at a station where it's got one bathroom. And talking about being up to code and ADA compliant, this isn't the Southeast Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department anymore. It ain't the Wild Wild West. It's the county. There's implications there by not bringing it back. If we build this bathroom where it's up to code and everything like it's supposed to, the brush truck won't even fit in the bay it's supposed to go in. And if it is, you're gonna have to, it's just not that big. And I talked about this in public safety, and my big concern was, I'm not asking you to spend any money tonight. I'm asking us, let's stop. There's a lot of issues that I don't think have been addressed. The trust system and the living side of it, when they did the walkthrough, they didn't go to the side that was unburned and check every little thing. That's one big windstorm from falling down. I mean, this building was not put together very well. I don't know who built it and how long ago it was built.
Let me go over some of the things. I did talk to Mr. Klein, the architect, today, and unfortunately his father-in-law's in the hospital, so he couldn't be here. I'm just going to read a few of the things he told me on the phone. Okay? The building will be in full code compliance. It even meets seismic code requirements, which is a new requirement. I didn't know about seismic requirements.
Well, I do.
All of the concrete walls, all of them, including those that weren't in the fire and at the front of the building, will be structurally reinforced with rebar and grout through the whole wall structure. And I didn't write it on everything. It's got carbon dioxide meters in all the rooms. The sleeping area is fire rated. It has an outside existing door, which is already there, I believe. He is comfortable with this building being functional in codes compliance. That was his word. He is comfortable with the building. There are new ceiling joists in 2 of the areas, the equipment storage room and that adjacent bay that was adjacent to the fire. So, I mean, that's
But
his.
the ceiling joists were in the living area on the backside that had nothing to do with the fire that are about to
Yeah.
fall apart. There were some other issues with that building before the fire.
I would say,
Well, I
I didn't
personally
ask
seen
him
it.
that question because you hadn't raised that before, whether he investigated that other truss system up above that space.
The problem is Mr. Klein's never worked in a fire station.
Mr. Klein is,
Hold on, let me explain one thing. You don't walk from your bedroom past the fire engine through one bay into another bay to go use the restroom in the middle of the night. That's a recipe for disaster to get somebody hurt. You never walked through the bay to go to the from the bedroom to the fire station. You never did that at the city, nor did I. These guys shouldn't have to do it either. And I'm not asking you to spend any money.
What you look at me for?
Because you worked, you've been a fireman, you know.
You need to address it somewhere else. Don't be addressing stuff towards me. I'm man enough to
Well,
make my own decision.
you're a fireman, you know that's not the right thing to do to these guys. There's issues with the septic tank. We don't know about the permit. We don't know if there can be a kitchen for these guys. You talked about living space. If they're gonna put a kitchen, how are we gonna put a septic, if the septic tank won't, we can't do it. There's gonna be an additional add-on cost to, there's gonna be a lot of add-on cost to this.
that's my presentation. You guys can decide what you want to do. Do we want a
Any
fire
more?
protection out there or not?
Any more discussion on this?
Well, it seems to me that, Commissioner Young, that, correct me if I'm wrong, that you might be suggesting we spend $300,000 more so they don't have to walk too far to the bathroom.
No,
Is that-
I'm
that's
not.
what I'm hearing.
Well, when you get a lawsuit from a female, would you allow your wife as a volunteer to go sleep in the same bunk room as these guys over here?
Well, I'm not asking for anyone to shack up. I'm
No,
just
I'm just
saying.
saying, would you be willing for your wife to go sleep in the same bedroom as these guys so she can go volunteer? Because that's
If
what
we're
you're
gonna
asking
keep
these people
Gary out
to
of the
do.
conversation, let's keep my wife out of the conversation.
I'm just saying that, but what about my girlfriend? What if she wants to be a volunteer?
Oh, let's get
Who
back.
put it back on me? I
Let's
mean,
get back on the subject.
that's-
Mr.
it's-
Farley's here, should we ask what he
Yeah.
thinks? or
Why don't we ask
kinda
what these,
curious?
why don't we ask these guys back here, because he's going to do what the mayor tells him. Just like every other
Yeah,
department
let
head's
the
going
mayor
to say.
handle this and let's try to keep Larry out because he has to work with the people. you know.
And that's
But
fair to him. I
Well,
don't want him to
that's
put him
fine
on
with
the
me. He
spot.
was up there. I didn't
y'all-
know if he wanted to speak or not.
Are you
I can
making
work
a
with whatever
motion?
you guys give me.
Okay.
Okay, you making a motion to suspend the rules?
No, I'm not even gonna put these guys on the spot to speak, but these guys, and this is Chief Godwin back there in the hat, if you wanna raise your hand, he was the former chief of Southeast, been at that building longer than anybody. And would you raise your hands if you want the building to be bulldozed down and start over in Wake?
Mr. Chairman, point of
Yeah,
order.
yeah, point. You
I'm
want-
not
you
asking
want
them
to
to
suspend
speak.
the rules
I'm
and have
not
them
asking them to
speak?
speak.
Well, you asking for their
I'm just asking a show of hands.
input.
I'm
If
making a
I-
motion to
if-
suspend the
okay.
rules and
Got
allow.
a motion to suspend the rules. Do we have a second? Well, motion died like a second.
See, now we're silencing the voice, and one of the gentlemen wants to speak, you know. I don't think that's right to this community, and these guys live out here and are part of it,
Well, I
put
got-
their own money into it.
I got a solution. If you want to hear from the chairman. It's not one of these pressing issues where we have to do it by the 24th. So this is going to be my suggestion. To have the architect and our fire chief and this committee to personally go out to this site and to it and have the ones that point out all these discrepancies and everything before I ask this committee to make a decision on something that we hadn't seen.
Well, I'm sorry, isn't there a deadline to hold these?
The price is, I think, is held to March 20th. So.
March the 20th, that's what I got.
Mr. Chairman, architect and engineers have a license.
That's right.
The Architect and Engineering Board regulates these people in the state of Tennessee. If an architect or an engineer says something, I mean, they're putting their stamp on there, that something meets code, that something is structurally sound. You know, we've got I mean, I don't have a shingle hanging on my wall, and I'm an architect or engineer. All I got to go on is what an architect is saying, and he's gonna put his stamp on this thing, that it meets the regulations that's set forth by the codes that we've got adopted, by the regulations of engineers and architects. What's the funding, Commissioner?
The brick remediation project, how much money do we spend on the sheriff's department where the brick fell off? That architect stamped it too.
Yeah.
You asked me what was the funding.
Let's show respect for your fellow commissioner. He got the floor, so.
I apologize.
let's continue.
I got 29 years of experience in the fire service, and I've helped and been involved in building stations and rebuilding stations. At Murfreesboro, years ago, we had a fire station to burn. It was redone out there. It was built back in the 1960s, and it burnt, and it was redone, and it meets codes. And I want these guys, if anybody up here has ever supported the fire service, I've been one of them. I was one that helped get the second round of fire trucks and pushed it through, and a lot of you commissioners that's been on here a while voted for that.
Well, I pushed the original through.
Exactly.
I did too.
I think that they need a fire station out there, and we need to provide them with, I'm all for, if we have to, adding on to that out there to give them even bigger living quarters that they need. Even a better restroom facilities, female and male facilities that they need.
You making a motion there? Because I might support that. My problem is the septic tank issue. We got the station that burned at the city was on sewer. Station out there is on septic. There's some issues there with that. That hasn't really been addressed. And that's my concern, is we need to slow down. And I'm not asking you to do anything. I asked you to slow down and let's really look. And I'd like to see us do Commissioner McAdoo's thing. I said it at Public Safety. I said, I don't see how anybody can vote on this until they personally go look at it. And that's my honest opinion. I think that's fair to these guys.
I've seen the building.
And walked out there. Well, according to what Captain Lewis has told me, that there's only been 2 commissioners that took the time to go out there and look at it.
Point on that, it's only been 2 that he know of.
That's
you can go out there and look without having somebody.
Well, you got to
there.
go, if you want to walk through it, you got to have somebody.
But the reason I brought that up, it seemed like the budget committee threw it back on us, and public safety threw it back on us, and I know we probably got some commissioners on this committee that's wondering about this building and this site. And as far as I'm concerned, I could probably make a better decision if somebody would point these things out to me physically, per se, and be taking the word, and I don't doubt the word of the engineers and whatnot, but if we look at it, then we possibly can see some of these discrepancies or see something that's being brought up. I myself personally, I would like for this architect to go out and point it out to me. What we're gonna do with this building, how we're gonna remodel it or whatnot. And
You'd be happy to do that. In this set of plans, it's in graphic detail.
Right.
Every wall, every ceiling, every finish is outlined and defined. I'd be welcome anyone look at these plans and read them and review them.
One thing that I saw that wasn't there was a vehicle exhaust containment, such as what we put out there at.
Murfreesboro ain't got all their stations with that.
They have the Ward fuel or Ward exhaust systems that they wrote a grant for that takes the contaminants out of there. I'm sure you are aware of that.
Okay, Commissioner Cook,
That's
take
an
my
OSHA
hand up
thing.
for a minute.
I think David Klein is a very competent, I think we can trust him with what he says, and what he says he'll do. He's always been trustworthy on all of this, all of the work that he's done for the county. I can't say it about all of them, but I can say it about him. And I think what he says, I'll back him.
You're gonna put a stamp on it.
And I will say this, Mr. Young, he has helped us. The very one that had enough ingenuity and enough fortitude to help us take care of that brick remediation problem.
Well, my question is, if the trucks don't fit in the bays, what do we do? Because they're not, they already measured
The
them.
trucks fit in the bays. Which trucks don't fit in the bays?
Their brush truck's not gonna fit in the
The
bay.
brush truck.
The brush truck is not gonna fit the bay and it's supposed to go back into once you do the renovation. It won't fit back in there. That's a key important piece of
Brush trucks.
equipment out in that community because of the hills.
Why would they fit back in there?
The bathroom will be too big because of the ADA
Bathroom's
compliant.
going out toward, to where the stove and the sink was, from what I understand.
Well, from what I understand and looking at the plans, they won't fit back in there.
Well, that's probably the reason we need to go look, but.
That's exactly right. That's why I'm saying let's just slow
Commissioner
down
Drake.
and make sure.
He's got his hand up.
I'll just go ahead and make a motion, just so we can still debate this, but I'll make a motion to approve the project as
Second.
submitted by the mayor.
Got a motion to approve the project?
Second.
Got a second?
Well, I just want to say,
Any discussion?
I want to say that I think it's a shame that you won't let these guys speak, and you're silencing them. They don't want this. There's some serious issues with that building, and y'all aren't even going to take the time to go do it. I think that's sad. The money's in the budget. I talked to Ms. Nolan today. I found out where there's money to do this. I found out there's money to wait. And like Commissioner Farley said, and we've disagreed a lot right here, but I agree with him. Maybe we should go back and add a little bit more. Maybe if we don't rebuild the entire building, let's go back and slow down and look at this and maybe see if we need to expand one bay bigger, because we do have a tanker coming, a garbage truck converted tanker that we're gonna need to put somewhere.
Mr. Young, I have agreed with your assessment of the tanker, and we're not going to buy the second tanker until we demonstrate fully that the first one is adequate and properly working.
Well, you know what, I want to commend you on that. That's a separate issue. We'll talk about
I mean,
that, but
we're
thank
not
you
gonna be-
publicly.
We're not going to be putting that garbage truck, as
Thank
you
you.
Out there in the
tanker, as
bay.
you describe it, out there.
Well, that was one of the locations that was presented
Just
to us
wanna make-
originally. That was
wanna
one of
make
the two
that-
locations.
Make that
that-
statement.
But I appreciate that, separate issue, but I would just like to maybe let's look at this, if we can go out there and look at it and see if there's, because think about this, county fire department's not gonna shrink. This is here for the next however long it's gonna be, and we need to build this building for the future. If it's gonna work, it's gonna work. I could be totally wrong right now, but I know that ADA compliant and equal facilities for men and women is an absolute must, because every other county facility has it.
I want to make an amendment to the motion that's on the floor, and Commissioner may be willing to add it in there, I don't know, but that we look at adding some additional square footage, what it's going to cost to actually make a little more room as far as the living quarters and bathroom facilities, to see what it's going to cost to add a little more square footage wise. I'm not going to give a number as far as square foot, but see.
Okay, well, let you go ahead and get your motion and your second.
That's an amendment. Do we have a second to that amendment?
I'll second that amendment.
We got a second to it.
Now, if we have to do that, we're probably, if you would allow that to be done through a potential change order.
Yes, sir.
That would be okay.
That's
but-
that was
but-
the word I was trying to look at. If there's a change order on there, we can.
And bring a change order back for a cost analysis. But to really get moving forward, we really need to go ahead and address what we've got and instruct us to work with the architect to see what else we might add that would improve and enhance what we've got, but allow us to go forward with the base set of plans that we currently have.
That's my amendment right there.
Could you get those plans right?
I got them, but how long do you guys want to take? I mean,
I just want to look at them real quick, because
you can look at them while they.
we can look at the front
Any
page
more
of it and see.
discussion on the
I
amendment?
don't have to look at all the other, I just want to look at the front page of it.
Can we get a change order to look at without amendment, or is that something that?
I'll say one thing, before you ever come on this committee or on the county commission, we've been looking at the fire department for your
Bring it
first.
back.
But we can still vote for it.
We still vote for this to go forward.
Larry
and
would've
we can
been
bring
higher
back
than
any additional changes that.
But the full commission may vote for it at the time.
But my thing is, I want to make sure that all
He's
the
already agreed,
stations have equal.
and one used to be an office, put a kitchenette in there with a sink, refrigerator, stove, so we don't have to run water back there anyway, so it shouldn't be.
We don't have a choice.
Would we have to vote on, we would vote on the change order when it comes back through at that time. I mean, at this point, if we supported Commissioner Farley's amendment, we'd be voting on the change order when it comes back through anyway. Could you have a change order later, even if we don't have this amendment at the
You can
moment?
have a change order throughout the whole project.
So this amendment doesn't really,
I forgot how many change orders we did with there's a
False
few stations
to-
up there on Market Road. And then basically what it just increases the cost of it. And, I mean, basically what he does, he'll submit a change order to the mayor approves it, or we can bring it before y'all, let y'all approve it. And then just because it's gonna be an additional cost.
I just want to give the mayor and the fire chief where they're able to go out and ask this architect to look at this, and that we're still moving on with the station that the mayor's recommended. But we're also looking at
This is a vote round.
a change order
This is the same
to
thing.
add on out there to give them more facilities.
This is the
It's
same
kind of
thing.
where I'm headed with
you're
this.
asking them to look
This
into.
isn't.
Yeah, and then bring back a change order to us, what it's gonna cost to do that. And I feel like it's gonna be less doing it this way than we do building the station.
We need to let them get on this amendment discussion.
Yeah. Any more discussion on the amendment?
Call for the question on the motion.
Before you call for them, I have the amendment read.
The motion to look at adding square footage to increase the living quarters and bathroom facilities to be done through change order with cost analysis.
Everyone understand the amendment? I guess we'll go with a roll call.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes?
Commissioner Coggan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Farley,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect to the committee, I've sat in meetings before where there have been members of the audience that have valuable information for the committee or council or commission to hear and not been allowed to speak. So I want to try again.
Try again.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and allow these guys in the audience if they wish to address the committee.
I'll second motion.
Got a second? All those in favor of suspending the rules, allowing the audience to speak, let me know by saying aye. Okay. All right. Who wants to be first?
I'd like to speak.
Okay, just stand up and.
My name is Joey Godwin, and I used to be the chief out at Southeast. And there's no doubt in our minds that you guys have gone above and beyond the fire service to help us out and give us what we need when we've asked for it. And Mr. Mayor, when I was chief there and when you were running for office, and I think you remember coming to the Fire Chief Association and you said you wanted to do, you remember the fire study that we've done back years ago, and you wanted to do everything you could to see that through. And I personally came to your office and said, can you give me a second station? And you did that. And we've never forgotten that, because we're out there on by the EMS station, which is now known as Station 23. That holds a single fire engine, which helps us handle mine in the town. That's where I live. We're asking you to go a little step further on this one for us. I don't know how many of y'all physically, I mean, it's easy to drive by and see the station and see the fire damage. But it's another thing to walk inside physically and see what's happened. Especially, it's been in the elements since May 31st with all the rain, and there's a lot of issues inside that has taken place since Mr. Klein was out there to begin with the first time. So there's a lot of time has come by. What we would like, of course, we would like a brand new station, of course. But as Commissioner Young was saying, it's not compliant if you rebuild it the way it is. We have females on our department. And if you built a new station for Fosterville, I would assume that they have female and male showers separate. I don't know that. But we're asking the same for us, because when we are required to do our rescue shifts, we have to spend the night somewhere. And that's very important to us that we are separate. And I think, anybody who's married, as Commissioner Young was saying, I don't think he was meaning anything personal. but you would want everybody separate, and I think that's fair to ask that we have separate quarters. And I'm all for I wish I would, like Commissioner McAdoo asked, to go out and look at it. And that's all we want, is just to look, physically see inside before you make a vote. And I think doing the amendment, Commissioner Farley, like you said, would go a long way for us in making some changes. And if it's not the brand new building, at least make the changes that we're asking. The kitchen facility, where we had a kitchen when we were there, and we were able to spend the night there and do for ourselves. And now we can't. And if the new building is rebuilt, and I understand there's been some issues now with the septic and the water, and if you take that part away from us, then it's going to be hard for us to do our overnight shifts. And we were spending a lot of time there before the building burned. We were doing a lot of overnights there. And we will continue to do so. We just need to make it where it's comfortable for us. Right now, we can't do any shifts there. We have no toilets, no facilities, we have a hydrant, just a spigot out there for our running water. We have no bathroom facilities right now, so we can't do any overnights. We have to do our shifts at Station 1. And that's what we're asking. And just, if y'all could please consider that. And Commissioner McAdoo said, just go out and just take a look yourself. And we do appreciate everything you've done. And Mr. Mayor, once again, you may not remember that conversation we had, but I know you asked, when I asked, you said we can do that. And so I'm just asking one more time to see if y'all can help us with that. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak? Okay.
In the,
Go ahead. You got a question?
remodeling or whatever we do to the building, is it going to give you room to drive through, have your machine, your fire trucks coming out?
No, ma'am. That property's not.
It's not
Yeah,
big enough to do that?
No, ma'am.
The septic runs
On the back side of the building.
Okay.
I appreciate you saying all that, and I would like to remind all of us that since we've been here, I mean, I think, of course, you're now under the county program, but I think you guys were getting like $25,000 a year contribution. We got that up to $45,000 last year.
And Joy, what you were speaking of, that's one of the reasons I wanted to, I think we can get what y'all need out there in a cost-effective manner by going in this way, getting the additional square foot possibly for the facilities out there for the men and women of the department, and, you know, in the sleeping areas and living quarters and stuff. I think in the long run, it will create a better working environment out there for you all doing this way. And that's why I'm supporting it. That's why I made the amendment I just made.
Commissioner Varley, that approach may be easier for the budget committee to approve. I'm on budget, and I know we are feeling a lot of pressure with our budget and various spending proposals, whether it's SROs or a new judicial building, or new schools, or now fire station. I think the budget committee is going to have a very difficult time funding all of this stuff, and so if we can find a cost-effective way like that to provide what we need, it's something that has a chance of passing the budget committee. I'm not sure the budget committee is going to be able to pass be able to approve all of these spending requests by all these different entities.
One thing, and I'm the one up here who's against, so I'm just gonna say my piece. I think with Commissioner Farley's amendment, and if you look at the plans here, the bathroom is in the bay right here, and this bay is now almost ineffective. And with his amendment, hopefully this bathroom could be moved elsewhere, and then that bay is for future growth. My thing is, we gotta think outside the box. We can't think for next year. We gotta think for 20 years down the road and make sure this building, what we sink into this building, is still there. We gotta plan smart. That's what I'm asking, and I want to apologize if I was brash with anybody on this committee, but I'm very, very, very passionate.
You need to calm down a little bit.
I'm passionate, but I work at a facility where we have to share, there's only one toilet. And when you've got 4 people there, it's not fun. You know, my paid job, I'm sorry. Now, at the county, in Station 1, we built this station on Barfield Road. And if you ever go look at it, why does Barfield get treated better than Buchanan? Because they have a really nice station out there. I mean, it's $1 million building. I understand we can't build $1 million building. And like you said on the budget committee, if the mayor's proposal was $145,000, $143, and the total cost without adding on a little bit more, maybe say it was $175, it's still better than Fosterville's $350. So hopefully the budget committee can find a way, and I hope y'all support that, but we really have got to add a little bit on, just like Commissioner Farley said, to make sure these facilities are equal. There's no kitchen right here right now. How do you have a fire station without a kitchen?
We can manage
You
that.
gonna put one?
That'll be
Right.
pretty simple.
Okay.
Let me suggest one thing while you're, I was asking for you guys to approve $168,300, which includes $5,000 for contingency. I'd like to change my recommendation to make that contingency $15,000. And that would make this, we could go forward here at $178,300. And if we can do change orders that doesn't exceed 15, we won't even have to come back to you or the commission. And nothing would change except my recommendation has changed. And if your motion would allow.
Well, I'll amend the motion that we've already amended to what the mayor just said. Put his-
Well, the original motion,
But we haven't voted on his motion yet.
so we can just,
Or if
change
you
it.
make her that motion to change the
yeah,
168,300
yeah, if he change it, then we'll be in good shape.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
put the
ahead.
mayor's plan, so that's your plan.
Yeah.
What was your total
I
amount?
appreciate y'all.
$178,300.
See how we
Yes,
listening?
there's a different way of skinning it.
I fight. You don't know me.
There's a different way of skinning the cat than just tearing something completely down.
I'd like to say one thing, we've had projects in the past, we came back with change order on top of change order on top of change order, and I'm pretty sure if we see anything that we think that need to be done out there, that they will come back with a change order to us.
Exactly.
And that probably will give us what they need out there. So I guess I'm saying that, and not to say that this original plan is what is gonna be etched in stone, that we see before we even get started, that we're gonna have change orders on this project. And so change orders on the project will probably get us what we need. It's my way of looking at it. Now, I could be wrong, but
Well,
maybe the fire chief can, elaborate on it. I guess what I'm saying, if they go ahead and start the structure and we see something that needs to be moved here and there, do we have the property, the septic tank, or whatever to make these change orders?
We'll work through all of that concurrent with the other work. We'll
If we
start
got-
on identifying what changes we want to make in the current.
Are we doing this
plans.
in this budget year, or are we gonna do it in this, are we gonna do it right now?
We're gonna get
Right
back-
now. It's gonna get going.
I got a little bit of experience working with Station 1 in Midland Fossville, so I'm kind of getting a feel of being the kind of supervising these buildings, so, yeah, I mean, the mayor's worked well with me on this, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can use some inmates, and we got our own solid waste department and construction and debris landfill, so whatever we can haul off is for free anyway, so.
That's right.
Well, Mr. Owens been very good to fire service.
Save as much as
He's
possible.
been very
and put
good
back
to
in.
The reason I brought that up, I guess I'm partial to that side, since I'm just redistricting, I think I got a little portion out there, but we really do need to get that building up and operational, because they make the statement that they only got a spigot out there, they can't stay overnight, and I'd hate to hold this project up for us to debate whether we're gonna tear it down and build a new one when we think that we can achieve the same goal with change orders.
And that's why I made the amendment to that, because I feel like we're gonna be cost effective, we're gonna get the same thing we need out there for these guys in the community. And with less cost, and get that station back there running and up and running, and where they can go out there and spend their 24-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts that they're doing.
Well, my personal opinion is I still don't think it's right to do what we're doing, but I appreciate the committee's effort to work and do a little bit more, and I appreciate the mayor really seeing it and hearing some of the arguments and hearing, and I appreciate Mr. Coggin allowing Chief Godwin to speak, and hopefully, you know, let's just hope for the best. And I'm going to support this because, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I'm one of 21, and I'll vote by myself to vote to rebuild it, but, you know.
But being up here for a few years, I've seen change orders turn out to be the identical thing that we wanted when we decided that if we were gonna tear it down and start over. I've seen the engineer stop us in the track. I've seen the one that's got to occupy the building stop us in the tracks, and we just kept working through change orders till we got it what we wanted.
But they're gonna do what they want quicker and,
Yeah, they are.
and less expensive, less cost.
Well, and the reason why I'm fighting so hard is that when you talk about equal facilities, you don't want a lawsuit later on, because the lawsuit will cost more than the building will. That's a fact. So, you know, a bathroom in the bay where you have to walk through, to me, somehow that's going.
But that's a moot point now.
No, because it could be moved elsewhere. It can be moved elsewhere, but I mean,
We-
there's some things there that could turn into lawsuits later on that'll cost us more later.
Yeah,
You know,
but
it's not
what
worth it.
about-
Let's just do it right on the front end.
Yeah, but the
And
mayor.
I think the change orders, hopefully we can
Yeah.
achieve that,
But
so.
the mayor already increased the contingency from 5 to 15. That's
Yeah.
quite a few change orders right there, in which we will not even have to come back to budget.
Right.
If it passed. So,
I think it's also, I was gonna say, I don't know, when were these plans ready?
I don't know, we took bids on the 29th, so they were ready a few weeks before that.
Well, I mean, I think it's important for anybody who's picking up on this just now, that this has been underway since at least September, if
Well,
not
they've been
before.
working on these plans.
So I guess, you know, if we didn't want to just rebid it, renovate it, then that should have happened in September or August, whenever the commission voted on it, for us to take bids on it. So I think it's all important to remember, this has been in the works for a long time. It's not just happening, you know, 20 days before the bids expire. So
These plans
we're
are
sitting here
dated
trying to change the whole thing, and it's been underway for months.
January the 7th.
Right.
When these are.
Okay.
So,
See, and I would like,
and they should have been looked at before then,
and that's what
by
I'm,
then.
you know, sometimes this committee might want to look at plans before we just start going out and bidding on them to make sure that that's, you know, if we're spending millions of dollars on schools, let's just take a look at them. We don't have to, you know, it might be missing something huge. A school might be missing a football stadium, you know? I mean, that's a rare chance, but it happened to Riverdale and Oakland, so.
But Commissioner, that's why we hire architects and engineers. We're not, we don't, some people, we know how to look at plans, but some people may not know how to read these plans. You know, that's why we hire the architects and engineers to pay
We'll
them.
be welcome anyone to come through the preliminary plan development, discuss those and review those, and I'll assist you in any way you want to.
I'm pretty sure the mayor will like the company when you discuss these plans.
You look at too many plans.
Any more discussion on the original motion?
Dr. Tyler.
I'm gonna ask that the original motion be read.
Approve the project as submitted by the county mayor with a $178,300 budget, increasing the contingency to $15,000.
Any more discussion on the original motion? I see one shaking his head, no.
Call for the question.
Roll call.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Coggin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes. Okay. Any other business that we need to discuss tonight?
You need to accept this report.
Oh,
It's from the finance director.
oh, my goodness. Do I need to, anything back? Could I entertain a motion to accept the report from the finance director?
Capital projects report.
Capital
So
project
moved.
report?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report accepted. Any other business to come up before the property management committee? not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.